Hello and welcome back. This is Sweet Skeins, my podcast here at Handmade by Candy. I'm Candy. I am on Ravelry as Handmade by Candy as well as Instagram as Handmade by Candy. And as I said, this is my podcast, Sweet Skeins. Little play on words since my name is Candy. I am filming my second podcast. It's been a couple months. I filmed my first one in January. My kitties are very intrigued with what I'm doing. Sorry. I filmed my first one at some point in January. I don't honestly remember when. And I had every intention on filming this mid-March. It is now April 5th. Between kids and sickness, also kid related, it just did not happen until today. So here we are. I have a finished object. I have progress on 2 whips and some acquisitions. So sorry. So we'll just go ahead and get started. This is Piper. She's gonna be invading my personal space, and that's okay. And then the other kitty you may see is Tora, my orange girl. So if don't mind them when they pop into view. I am not wearing any knits today. I have been wearing a comfort fade cardi for the last couple days, but it's just not quite cool enough in the house to justify that. Behind me is, I have it on my iPad. Hang on. I finished this a while ago. Oh, you're just gonna lay down? Okay. This is the Hue Shift Afghan, the crochet version, by Erica Jakovsky. I made this in 2018, so I finished this a while ago, and there is 102 different colorways of Madelinetosh Vintage in this blanket. Each square, there's 100 squares, crochet miter squares. Each square is a color of Madelinetosh Vintage, and then all 100 squares have the what color? Antler. Antler as the contrast stripe, and then the 102nd color is this gray tern. I know that colorway. The cat is getting stuck to the blanket. That's why I didn't want you up here, sweetie. You're still stuck, aren't you? Okay. Maybe that will get her to go away because she got stuck. Anyways, so on my project page, no kitty, I have a link to the stash that I used for this. And that stash page, I'm gonna pull it up now so you can kind of see. There's some glare. Is all of the 100 colors used. I participated in swaps through the Eat Sleep Knit Ravelry forum back in 2017 and 2018, I believe, is when I started, or 2016 is when I first started doing the swaps. And by 2018, I had 100 colors. So basically 10 of us would go in on a skein, 10 of us would buy a skein and divide it into 10. So those 10 minis would then get swapped around everybody. So that's how I had 100 colors. And this was just a really fun project. I did finish it within a year. Also part of Eat Sleep Knit's Yarnathon for that year was the Hue Shift, and they, most people did the knit version. I did the crochet version. So I love this blanket. There's some really good pictures on my Ravelry. I will link you directly to the project page for this since it is kind of a more unique one, and I'm really, really, really thrilled with how it came out. So, moving on to, so that is just what I kind of have to show. and sit on because our couch is leather and I get a little sweaty sitting on leather. Anyways, TMI, right? Okay, so next I want to talk to you about, I have a finished object. You guys saw it last time as a whip. It's the Euphorbia shawl by Amba O'Brien. So last you saw it, I left the stitch marker in. I have not blocked this. I have woven in ends, but I have not trimmed them. So last you saw it was here at this pink color. I had done purple to pink, and I have since finished the rest of the 24 Advent minis, because this was an Advent set from Earl Grey Fiber Co, which I think I have confirmed from browsing and everything that they are no longer making yarn. Whether they decide to do it again in the future, I would love, because I do love their yarn. But I used an entire Advent set for this, and I really, really love it. It's super squishy. I mean, it's DK weight, and it's a great size for wrapping around. I'm gonna screw up my hair for wrapping around. Yeah, like that. As you can see, I still have a little bit left down here. And it's just nice and cozy and squishy, and oh, I would not, like some of these, I did these in order. Like the little ball bands, which I saved, had, like this is the 10th one, for example. It had 10 and then the color name. So I did them in order, 1 through 24. That meant for some pretty interesting shifts in color, but I think whenever I explain that this was an Advent set, people will fully understand. And the theme of this Advent was Alice in Wonderland. So it kind of explains some of the color choices, why there's a pop of red when the rest of this just does not, you know, the red is very unexpected in my opinion. But I love this. I'm really glad I kind of almost prioritized it. I worked on this, let's see. I started it January 6th and I finished it February 27th. So my goal from the last video was to finish it by the end of February, and I did. So I'm very, very proud of this. I need to block it so I can trim off these final ends. I don't think I'm really gonna do a whole lot of pulling. I just wanna kinda, you know, pin it out and let it dry. Kind of get some of this curve that it wants to do out if I can. But if I can't, it's still super squishy and I love it, and it's about to be too warm in Indiana for me to use it, but I have it for when it's cold again. So that is my finished project. And as I mentioned, that's not part of it. I have all in this bag is all of the little ball bands from the minis. And I do have, I did not bring my little scale, but balls about this big left from each color. A couple colors I have a little bit more of, or a little bit less of. Like this one feels a little bigger. And I have not yet decided what I'm gonna do with them, but maybe some sort of scrappy something, or I don't know. There's 24 of them. I may see just how big of a granny square they make. Like some sort of granny square, or that type of thing, blanket, because I do have other DK weight scraps, so we shall see. So that is my one finished object. And next I will, ooh, sorry, you're bouncing everywhere. I will move on to my whips progress. So I'm gonna see if the photo pulled over here through iCloud. The first one I'm gonna talk about is my rose cardigan. And last you saw it, I had a, I had shown the cable band as far as I had it, which I have a picture. Yes. I have a picture of it here. So that pink stitch marker is where you last saw this cable strip. And it was right about there that I learned I was doing my purl through the back loop wrong. And it was causing the edge to really kind of row out. I don't know if this, oh yeah, you can totally see. So from the stitch marker down, you see the edge, how it's like really loosey-goosey. And then from the stitch marker up, it's much cleaner on the very edge there, those like the ribbed part next to the cables. So that's where I started doing the purl through the back loop correctly. And I stalled on this for probably 2 weeks. Didn't touch it. Didn't touch that strip for like 2 weeks because I hated seeing that stark contrast of loosey-goosey and more clean stitches. So I asked myself, why am I stalled? I answered myself, because there's an obvious difference and I'm not sure it's gonna block out. So I thought long and hard about it and I frogged it. I had gotten 13, almost 14 inches in that strip, that picture that had both, almost 14 inches, which is halfway through the cable strip. Because for the size I'm making, you go to 28 inches roughly, and then you compare it to your body to see if you need to make it longer, shorter, whatever. So I was almost halfway with my first strip, but I knew I wasn't happy. I wasn't sure it was gonna block out, and I was gonna know. I knew, I could tell. So I ripped it out. I did, I ripped out all 14 inches, almost 14 inches, and started over. So now I have this much done. Do I know how much this is? Nope. But I think I'm at least as far as I was. And then I got to sitting there thinking about it, going, well, this is a really short row. And I'm not gonna wanna do 2 of these. Like, I'm gonna stall out again because I don't wanna do the exact same thing all over again. So I actually cast it on from the other end of my cake, the second one, and have done, you can't see that, 1 full repeat on the second strip. So let me go ahead and measure this real quick since I have my tape measure, just so you can kind of know. And I will put a stitch marker in there so that way next time I come on here, you'll be able to see just how far I got. Oh, let's get out some underneath it. Sorry guys, I should have done this before I started. So yeah, I'm at almost 18 inches now on the, so I'm further than I was before I ripped out, which is very exciting. So I'm at almost 18 inches on this long one, and then at like an inch on the second one. So I'm getting it all tangled, but as you can see, nice, clean, and tidy on both sides of that cable stuff for my purling through the back loop. The back is also nice and tidy. I'm much more happier. Much more happier. That's horrible grammar. Golly. Okay, I'm much happier with how it's looking now. Very thrilled with the cables. I kind of don't look forward to sewing this on, but that's okay. This whole garment has been seamed, so it is what it is. And I'm excited for the finished finished product, and getting to wear it. I think it'll be great for in the summer to have in the car to just throw on, like when I go into a restaurant or someplace that's air conditioned, because I'm a cold-natured fool. Don't mind the cat. She's playing with one of the pairs of my baby's socks, because that's apparently her thing now. Anyways, moving on. So at least I am further than I was when I ripped it all out, right? Right. Piper. No. Okay. My other whip that I said I would work on is my Ziggy Interrupted, my current crochet whip. And I have actually done more on here than I had intended. So last you saw it, it was just the 1 set of squares and then the 1 strip of the chevrons. And I have done my goal was to just do that first row, just to get my mojo going. That first row of squares on here. And I have already done most of the second row and finished off the edge for the third row. So I'm gonna work on this kind of here and there as the mood strikes me. I don't plan on keeping this when it's done. I just don't think I will wear it. It's not that it's not my colors. I love pink. I love this blue. I love the purples, and I love the colors. I don't think I'm going to love the finished product, but I'm going to love making the finished product. I am definitely a process yarn crafter. I don't want to say knitter or crocheter. I'm definitely a process maker. There we go, process maker. And I don't always keep my finished projects. I like to give them as gifts. I do wear and have some, but I don't end up loving everything I make for me. So this will not be for me. Who it will go to, I don't know. But for now, it's just a fun little deviation from my knitting when I feel like crocheting, because I am a far faster crocheter than I am a knitter. So that's my Ziggy Interrupted progress. I have not started anything new, but I'm going to, because I am, and I've talked about it a little bit, I think already, I am kind of hitting that wall of both of these projects that I'm going to continue to work on are in a state of redundant. I'm doing the same thing over and over. I'm doing the same 8-row cable over and over and over on the Rose cardigan. I'm doing the same squares over and over and over, just different colors on the Ziggy. And then even once the squares are done, that'll be a nice change, because then I'll get to go back and forth across in the chevron, but then that'll get redundant. So I've decided I'm allowing myself to cast on the dude hat. I talked about it before. I have it in my queue. It's like the first thing in my queue. It's going to be a Christmas knit. Let's see, just pull it up. Dude hat by Ashley Baah. It's just a simple textured worsted weight beanie. And I'm going to use my Ruby and Roses that I hauled the last time. My Ruby and Roses worsted in the colorway Vineyard. It's gonna be so squishy, but as I said, that's gonna be my first, hopefully, of many Christmas knits. I'm not gonna like make it a yarny Christmas and like make all the gifts for everybody, but I do want to make some. I know my mom loves them because she's cold-natured, so maybe we'll make her something. If I do, it won't go on here, because as soon as she figures out I have a YouTube channel, she will watch them. So we'll see about that. I also really want to make a coworker a thank you gift for having loaned me all of the Sarah J. Maas books that have been published, so I can read them without having to wait on the library. So I do want to make her something as a thank you. And she's getting married later this year, so I can get away with it, I think. Even if it's not for Christmas. We'll see. We'll see just how much knitting I get done. It is April 5th, and you've seen my progress. I will move my progress keepers so we can kind of see where I'm at. I am hoping to do these more like once a month, because life update before I get into my acquisitions. I am fully work from home. This was not a choice made by me. It was a choice made by my employer, because we're out of space. They need to hire more people and they don't have the desk space, and the team I work on is trustworthy, and they are very confident that our productivity will not be affected by working from home full-time versus hybrid or office. So I'm fully work from home, which means I don't have that 20 to 30 minute commute each way 3 days a week. And I'm already home. I can, on my breaks, actually do something around the house. So that way when I get off work, the house is already cleaner than it was before I got started. I'm not saying I'm gonna like work while I work, you know what I mean? But I can, you know, rotate the laundry, or I can clean my breast pump while I'm pumping, because that way the next one's ready and I have ones I can wear. So I can just kind of multitask a little bit more being home. So that way when I'm off work waiting for my husband to get home with the kids, I have time to yarn. So I am hoping to do these more like once a month. We will see. Maybe it'll be every 6 weeks. We'll just kind of see how much progress I have. But that is kind of my new goal. And we'll just kind of play it by ear. I kind of have to figure out my routine. Like, once they're out the door, I have about an hour before I clock in for work. So how do I use that hour to set me up for the rest of the day? How do I use after I'm clocked out for the day before they get home? I need to be productive around the house and not just knit. So, well, I got to figure out my routine, and that's where we'll see if it's every month or every 6 weeks. Also, I have not been staying up and knitting because my little guy has decided he does not believe in sleeping through the night and he wants to wake up to eat. So that is fine. He is a priority, but that does mean that when he goes down at 9 o'clock, I go to bed by 10 because he's probably gonna wake up between 11 and 12 to eat. And then again, about 2. So before we all get up for the day at 5. Very early mornings around here. But that being said, I'm not getting as much evening knitting time, so I have to find it in other ways. Because I need my sleep. Mama needs her sleep. I got teased. Last night he woke up every 3 hours. The night before, he woke up, he went 5-hour stretch, and I felt so well rested yesterday. And then back to normal, so to speak, last night. Last of the life updates before I get into the acquisitions and we just kind of wrap things up here, or I kind of set my goal for what I hope to be showing you next time. But I've ordered my yarn advent for this year. I ordered it from Ruby and Roses because she said it's going to fade. I really want I also went with the fingering weight. She had like 3 or 4 different options, but I did fingering weight, 100% superwash merino, I believe. But yeah, it's gonna be the daily minis that fade and then a full skein that complements all of it. So I'm really, really excited about that. Kind of sad that I have to wait until November for it to arrive and then December 1st to start opening it, because I will do it daily. I will. And I'm just curious to see, like, I'm really excited about it being a fade instead of the randomness that plays well together that the last yarn advent I had did. So I am very excited about that. And then Outstanding Yarn is a set from Fangirl Fibers that is Nightmare Before Christmas themed. It should be shipping sometime this month, so I will have it soon. And I plan on making one of the doodle cowls, Pacific Knit Co. Doodle decks that I showed in my last video. I'm going to use that to do that set to make a doodle cowl. I'm probably gonna mix and match the Seattle and the Portland decks. We'll see. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do a giant long tube or if I want to do the shorter and just go around. I'm making a whole lot of sense. One-sided versus two, like all the way around. I think I'm gonna do the one-sided, so maybe I'll get a couple out of it. I'm not sure. Again, we'll kind of see how that goes. But on to my acquisitions that I do have in my possession that I have received since I last filmed. Okay, so the bag's not an acquisition, but I do love this bag. You cannot get this bag anymore. It's from a shop that has gone out of business, but it is nice and open and flat bottomed and has nice pockets. So I stuck all my yarn in it. I'm gonna start with the non-yarn acquisition, and that is a twice sheared sheep order. They have some really cool notions and I'm really excited to get to use these. So I am gonna start, I don't need these at the moment, but these are knit extension cords. I'm sure you've seen these around, but it's 3 different sizes. So you've got the skinny for your fine knitting, the more, ooh, I just want the end. The little bit thicker for your probably more like average sweater knits, and then a chunkier, this purple one is more of a chunky, larger weight. And they don't want to completely fit in here, but I'm gonna make them. So my knit extension cords, excited to have more of these. I have a set of where it's all the same size tubing, just different lengths. So I'm really excited to have the different size tubing. And then I got it's called a work until measuring tape. I'm excited for this because how it works is you slide it on like a stitch marker, and then you put it down to have, like, say you need to knit in pattern for 7 inches. So you can set it there, and then it's already on your work. You don't have to pull it out, and you can not have to check your measurement every 10 row or every row. It's just there ready for you. So I am knowing that I am at the 18-inch mark on my one strip. I may set this to 10, and then that way I know when I hit that, when that stitch marker gets down to the 10, I'm done with that strip, theoretically. But that is my work until measuring tape. And next from there, I got I'll pull it out and show you because it's from the same place. I have a 10 row counter. I'm pretty sure I showed this in my last video, but I have a 10 row counter that has a like yarn, little coffee teacup on the end there. But it counts to 10 rows. I don't always need 10 rows. So I got a 5 row counter, and it does have the little removable stitch marker thingy-mabob. Melody clip is what she calls it. So you can count your repeats. There's one on my longer one as well, but I like this one because it's just a yarn ball with knitting needles. So that's very, very exciting, and I can use this on things that don't have as many of a row repeat. And then I also got odd and even, which I am going to switch that long row counter to the odd and even row counters now that I'm doing 2. I'm gonna have the odd one, the one that does 1, 3, 5, 7, technically 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 on the panel that's longer, and then I'll put the 2, 4, 6, 8, 0 or 10 on the other one, so that way I can easily, I should be able to tell just by length, easily know where I'm at, which direction I'm going, coming or going, because I will be able to see, oh, I have moved this onto, this makes more sense. So, but the odd even for those, or this would be great for shawls where you have a stitch count or a row count repeat to put on either end. So that way you don't have to worry about like front or back. You just know if I'm at this end, that means I'm doing an even row. So I'm really excited about that, those new purchases, and we'll move on to the yarn. Okay, so the one I was honestly most excited about, and it was a mystery, is this Homespun house. It is her soft sock fingering. She is doing she calls them clubs, but it's not like a subscription or anything. You buy the one you want and you don't buy the ones you don't want. But it is a Harry Potter birthday club. So I am a sucker for Luna Lovegood. And so she had Luna Lovegood as one of the character birthday clubs. And so I went for it, and I was expecting a bold, vibrant, pink, purple. I'm thinking Spectre specs here, if you know what I'm talking about. So when I got this, I was like, oh, that's a different take on it. And the way mine is skeined up and wound looks so different than Molly, a Homespun House. Her name is Molly. Her video, her podcast that she put out recently on her channel, her skein looked so different, and I actually really liked it. But you can see there's just all these great colors, which makes sense because, I mean, you've got Luna, she's a blonde, so the yellow undertone totally makes sense. But then you've got all these fun colors, which just speaks to her vibrant personality. Molly explains her thought process on this colorway so much better on her podcast. But it's gorgeous. I have no idea what I will make with this. I might actually make socks because I would really love to be a sock knitter, and I've made a couple pairs and I never wear them because they don't fit right. One pair was too tight and one pair is too loose, and I want to try again. So maybe I'll do it with this. My special Luna socks. So that is, and this is dyed in Germany. It came really quick too. Like once it was marked shipped and like on its way, it was here within just a few days. I was very impressed. It was something that didn't ship until a certain date, but once that date happened, it was here really, really quick. So just one more look at this gorgeous skein with all these gorgeous colors kind of happening. I'm really curious to see how this looks worked up. Next is, I did an order from Dragon Hoard yarn. She did I don't know her name offhand. She did a Dragon Academy themed release. And when I saw the colors, I knew I was gonna have to make an order. And I did. I got 2 colors, 2 skeins and 2 colors. I had on the website, and I mean, pictures are very subjective. Monitors show them every monitor shows the same picture differently. So I'm not faulting the dyer for her photography skills at all. I had just hoped that they would have more of a contrast in the colors that I picked, but they are a little, see, and in this light, they might work. I don't know. I might have to swatch it. But my thought process was to do this, to do a brioche with these 2 colors. And I just don't know if that's enough contrast for what I'm going for. And I have a similarly colored but much lighter skein in stash. Not of this yarn, it's a completely different yarn, but the yardage is similar enough. The fiber count is basically the same, that I think would pair really well for brioche with this. But back to this yarn. I got Summoner, which is this lovely like blue-green mossy really, it reminds me of like underwater. If you have not read the books, I don't want to spoil. There's also some like black in there. But this is 85% superwash merino wool, 15% nylon, the lower fingering base. I have seen where she has brought some of the colors into like a DK weight in her shop. So I may have to go back and order those at some point if they are still available. I don't have a plan for that. So at least one of these will get used for its originally intended purpose. We'll see what happens with the other. But this is Summoner. Lovely colors. And then this is called Silver One. Again, lovely colors. It's got like this gray undertone with purples and orange. It's almost even like a lilac-y, not lilac, pale lavender undertone. But then there's also like this like creamy tan beige bagel-y color. Oh, it's just, they're so gorgeous. I will figure out something to make with these since they are not exactly what I thought from the picture. Frankly, they're prettier. I love these skeins. They're not what I thought they were going to be. So my plan for them is now different and unknown, and that's okay. Because 2 fingering weight skeins for me can go a long way. So we will see what I end up doing with that. And worst case scenario, if I find a pattern in the near future that I think I would like to make with this color, if I need another skein, that this colorway is still in her shop, and maybe I could order another skein and just alternate skeins or something. Okay. So this you cannot order. These you can. I'm going to show you more yarn you can't order, and I apologize, but I'm sorry, I got them on sale. So my next yarn is also DK weight. This is from Yarn Cafe Creations. I got these on sale. She was closing out some of her colors, and I loved this like pink with black and brown speckle thing going on. I love these. I got 3 of them because I really want to make my daughter and I matching sweaters. The bean and olive sweater pattern from Andrea Mowry. I thought that this would be perfect for the color work part that has in the yoke to do as the colored part, and then get either a dark brown that is in kind of these specklies, or the black that is in like this part of the skein as the base color for the sweaters, and have them be completely matching, not flip-flopped. And this is enough for the colored work for both sweaters, and probably extra. But I had to have it. These were, like I said, they were being clearanced out. So I did get them at a significantly reduced price, probably like half price. The colorway is called Marry Me. It is on a base she has in her shop, the Americano DK. It's 100% superwash merino wool, 231 yards to 100 grams. And I have this, I'm pretty sure it's this exact base in a comfort fade kit that I'm itching to kind of cast on, because it's fairly mindless knitting, and other than the fading part. And I love my comfort fade cardi so much that getting to feel this yarn again makes me very intrigued and want to cast that sweater on. We'll see. But yeah, so that's the plan for these. It's a in the future plan, because I don't have the base color, and I want to know I have more time to knit before I commit myself to making 2 sweaters that are the same, just one is smaller than the other. And I will probably make my size first, and then make my daughter's at least 1 size larger than she would wear now, or at that time, just so that way there's room for her to grow, if not 2 sizes, depending on where she's landing at that point, just to get the most longevity out of it. But yeah, 3 of these. And most of this I got in the month of February. And I don't know if you remember, or if you, I mean, heck, you might not have even watched my first episode, but my my goal is to use more yarn or get rid of yarn from my stash more than I bring in. And in January, I definitely did that. I only brought in like 600 and some yards, and I got rid of 4,700, something like that. In February, I brought in 2437 and I counted the whole mini set from this as used. So I used 1,333 yards. Is that right? I'm double checking my notes. Oh no, so I did count all of the minis from the DK. That's 1,108, and then I did destash a 225 yard skein. So I still brought in more than I used, but I'm still ahead for the year. Oh, me. And then in March, the Luna Lovegood yarn came. So that was 448. And then this yarn came. And I have not added up the yardage yet, but I am still going to be ahead for the year. Because I'm going to count this as coming in April because I already did the math, subtracting out the Luna Lovegood yarn. So for the year, I'm still ahead 2,500 plus yards. And these skeins are not 2,500 yards. So I just need to get knitting so I can stay ahead. But this was a St. Patrick's Day sale from Hedgehog Fibers because they are in Ireland based dyer. The yarn says made in Ireland. And this was a potluck yarn color set sale. So their potluck colorways, like all three of these are labeled potluck as the colorway. They are one-offs. They are not available to purchase. They were just fun skeins that got dyed up. And this is, you know, what kind of came of them. So I got the set I chose, and I chose it because of these two skeins. I thought they would pair well together if I wanted to use them together, but I don't think I probably will, honestly. But then this one was also just gorgeous, so it worked out. I got this set because I liked the color of this mohair. I have other mohair in stash for the Pink Fizz by Andrea Mowry. I'm going to make it in pink. I cannot remember the yarn I have specifically for that sweater, but I know I have mohair that I'm going to be holding with another fingering weight. And so I've not yet worked with mohair, so I'm a little nervous, but I wanted to have the good mohair in stash as well. This is 70% kid mohair, so the softer, and then 30% silk. In this 50 gram skein, there's 420 meters. So it is soft. It does have like I probably won't want this direct to skin, so that tells me like I don't want it as a cowl, just because even being the kid mohair, I think I'm a little too sensitive for that. But I think in a sweater or in a hat, it would be okay. Obviously, this is not enough for a sweater. One skein that I'm not going to be able to get more of is not enough for a sweater, but I can kind of use this to play around and see how I like it, see how it works with like holding it double, like just practice with it before I get into the Pink Fizz and I'm doing it for an entire sweater. So maybe I will hold these two if I can find a pattern that calls for that. We'll see. But so that's the Kid Silk Lace from Hedgehog Fibers in this gorgeous bluey purple. My lighting is not doing me any favors. But so that is gorgeous. And then, like I said, these are all called potluck, but they're not the same. This one is the Merino DK. Actually, both of these are Merino DK. So they are 100 gram skeins, 200 meters. Machine washable, which is very exciting. Not very often does a yarn dyer actually encourage you to machine wash, but this is so soft. Oh my gosh, this is so soft. So it's got the pretty blue and purple, and then it's got the brown speckling going on in here, kind of muddying it up a little bit with some green and some like bright pops of there, kind of washed out there. But yeah, this is just so fun, so fun. Look at all that variation. So I am thinking hat. Yeah, maybe I can find a DK weight hat. I think that could be very pretty held together, maybe. And then the final skein in my 3-pack, like I said, Merino DK, 200 meters to 100 grams. I don't know the yardage conversion on that. Machine washable. It's this, depending on which way you look at it, it's kind of very different, but it's basically a rainbow. We've got, I mean, there's a lot of green. There's a lot of green in here. It's very autumnal on this end with the kind of reds, orange, yellow, but you do get that peak that there is some blue and purple in here. And then this end, you've got more of the like pinky purple and that like bright blue-green, and then more of a green there, and then some mossier green. So this is gonna be a very interesting skein. I honestly, because I have nothing this would go with in my stash, I recently discovered a couple DK weight sock patterns. So I'm thinking I might do that with these, do some DK weight socks before I try to do fingering again, just to kind of less commitment, less yardage. I mean, obviously it's less yards, so I can knit it up, and if it doesn't work out, I can frog it and I won't have spent as much time. But that's my thoughts there. And I don't have other hedgehog fibers because it's usually just more than I'm wanting to pay. So the sale, and I'd gotten a bonus at work, so I splurged a little bit, but this is so soft. I really need to get knitting. All right, so that is everything I had to share today. I am, again, sorry it took so long. If you watched the first one for me to put out a second one, if you have made it this far, thank you so much. If you haven't already and you're interested in seeing more content like this, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a comment with your favorite thing that you saw, or if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer questions on my next one to have something else to talk about. But yeah, so next time I kind of hope I get to show you at least one finished cable for my rose cardigan. I hope I can finish the 10 inches left on this one and have 10 more inches to show on this one. That would be great. I'd love to say I'll finish the squares and get started on the chevron part for the crochet, the Ziggy Interrupted, but I will have casted on that hat. I need to bust out my yarn winder and get that wound up so I can do it, but that's my goal. That's what I'm going to do. So you'll see me sometime in May. My mom's coming for a week in May, so I probably won't be till at least mid-May, later in May. Or maybe I'll do it before she comes. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. It'll either be a month or closer to 2 month and a half. We'll see. Anyways, I'm babbling now. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back, just don't know when, and I hope to see you there. Bye, friends.